Huge red day today in gold and silver, but not just gold and silver, guys. We had a huge red day all over all over the markets for one particular reason. And by now, you've likely heard the reason why. But let's take a look here. Gold right now is down 0.87%. Silver is down 1.85%, steadily trying to climb back up for both. But I want to let you know that this has nothing to do with anything fundamental that is disparaging the gold or that's disparaging against gold and silver fundamentals. As you can see here, currently the VIX is up at 8.91%. At a certain point, it was actually up 12% when I looked at it earlier. And when you take a look at this, you're like, wow, 9% currently in one day. And earlier it was 12% in one day. What just happened? And here is the main reason why. It comes down to a guy named Bill Wang. And Bill Wang is the pretty much he's the face of all of this negativity today. And I'm sure this man does not want to walk outside right now. But Bill Wang, he was a former hedge fund manager, currently owns a family office, which is pretty interesting. Usually, or recently, we've been seeing a lot of people who run hedge funds convert them into family offices. Some of the reasons why is because you have less regulations to deal with. And as you can see here, his family office is called Archegos Capital. And one of the main reasons why he is at the front page of all of this is because of margin calls. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, when you have a certain level of cash, you can go to a broker and the broker can essentially loan you extra capital based on the sum of cash, hard cash that you have. So some people will take advantage of this. And I know maybe there might be some of you who are watching right now who have probably taken advantage of some margin deals. But some brokers will give you a large amount of capital for a very little amount of cash. So some people might be 4 times leverage, 5 times leverage, 6 times leverage, whatever. Those are actually pretty safe if you know what you're doing. But there are some people who, let's say, for example, are only in the Forex markets, and they might be 100 times leverage. And they make one wrong mistake, their count just blows up. So obviously, when you're a little bit more savvy, like you'd hope, like a Bill Wang would be, you kind of know how to protect your downside. And when you're managing portfolios or when you're trading, that is probably one of the things you want to take care of immediately. You want to be extremely aggressive in order to make money, but you also want to be extremely defensive in order to protect your downside. So let's see exactly what happened, and let's learn a little bit more about Bill Wang here from this story. And I quote, Bill Wang, a former hedge fund manager who pleaded guilty to insider trading, already off to a bad start here, was deemed such a risk by Goldman Sachs Group that as recently as late 2018, the firm refused to do business with him. Those misgivings didn't last. Wall Street's premier investment bank, lured by the tens of millions of dollars a year in commissions that a whale like Wang paid to rival dealers, removed his name from its blacklist and allowed him to become a major client. So this guy was basically trading with a lot of money, and the spreads that Goldman's competitors were making off this guy were so enticing that they had to jump in and get a little bit of those crumbs. And we continue. Just as Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse Group, and others, Goldman fueled a pipeline of billions of dollars in credit. Key word right there is credit. Again, he was able to get this much credit because of the amount of money that he was able to put down in hard cash. Let's continue. In credit for Wang to make highly leveraged bets on stocks such as Chinese tech giant Baidu and media conglomerate Viacom CBS. Now, I actually did not prepare this, so I'm going to actually look this up right now. We're going to look at Viacom stock, And let's take a look at the past 6 months of Viacom. And you'll see that a lot of the movements in recent times were pretty vast for Viacom. Now take a look here. As you know, as recent as December 22nd, Viacom was trading at $34.89. And then it just started to ramp up quickly, especially after February 25th. It was at $62. And then it jumped as high as $100 on March 22nd. Now, it's reported that Viacom was actually looking to sell some stock at this point to raise some cash. And unfortunately, they could not get any buyers to get that stock off of them. So because of that, there was a trigger last week which caused the start of this of the stock to move against a whale like Mr. Wang. And because Mr. Wang was either not protecting his downside, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly here, I assume that is probably one of the reasons why he's dealing with this. And when you take a look at, and I'm going to move this away from Bill Wang here, one of the things that a lot of people may not do, and which may cause them to get a margin call or maybe have their account blow up, is that they may have stop losses on a particular stock, or they may not, but they may not also even have a stop loss on their portfolio. And one of the issues with that is if, let's say, for example, a particular stock that moves aggressively against you, well, first of all, one stock should not really be the downfall to your portfolio. But let's say you have high concentration risk with a particular stock in your portfolio, which is a no-no to begin with. But let's say you've been doing well with that stock and you've been putting more money into it. You should still be having a stop loss on your portfolio and that particular stock. So in case it does move against you, you've basically just made free money because, hey, you raised your stop loss over time because the stock has been performing well, better than your expectations. And you're raising the stop loss potentially on your portfolio as well. That way you protect any downside and you still come out on top because you hit your soft target. And as the stock or whatever goes up and it decides to come down, you hit your stop loss above your soft target. But because, this is really bad. This is just a huge cliff here. Sometimes you can put an automatic stop loss on things, but sometimes maybe, you might not have that discipline. I'm not saying that's true of Bill Wang here, but it's not looking so good right now. But obviously, because of this, a lot of people are selling, margin calls abound, and right now the VIX is up pretty heavily, and gold and silver are likely being sold to cover some losses here. So guys, it's been a pretty interesting day. Just know that sometimes it does pay to look at other markets aside from just the metals, so you know what's happening to your holdings, so it doesn't throw you off too much. If you're just looking at gold and silver and something like this happens, then you may be thinking, well, what's wrong with gold and silver? I don't see anything wrong. Why is it doing this? Well, something else may be happening at that moment. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion for goldandsilvertoday.com.